Howdy! Welcome back to the Modern Metal Songwriter YouTube channel. I'm Jeremiah Culver, and I'm going to be showing you some more vocal production tips today. So today, I'm going to go over some vocal tracking workflows, like comping takes. We're going to do some small bits of editing here and there, and we're just going to do some like arrangement stuff also. This song is from one of my projects called Kill Shot. The song is not out yet, because I'm actually doing it right here, right now, in the DAW with you guys. So let's hop right into the DAW, and let's get into it. Alright, so we're here in the DAW, and I already tracked these. You can hear, I'm going to mute everything but the main vocal, because we're just going to work on this one part here. Cool, so that's the chorus that we're going to be doing today. So I usually track in two kind of ways. So the first way is when I'm by myself, I just do the take. I'm like, okay, that felt good. I play it back, and if it doesn't sound terrible, I just use that take. But in this session, I had the luxury of having somebody be behind the DAW, so I could just focus on doing performance. I don't have to worry about putting it into the DAW and whatnot. So in that way, you just get a bunch of takes, then you compile the best like super take, or you comp the best take out of all those. So we're going to go into DAW right here. Now, Pro Tools, they have a thing called playlists. I'm sure other DAWs have the exact same thing. Cubase has a thing called lanes. Reaper has takes. Pro Tools has playlists. And then maybe Logic has playlists or lanes, something like that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to these playlists here. You can see all the takes I did of this part. And we kind of comped along the way a little bit. I'm going to get into a deep dive here so we could see it more in depth. I will also say when these were tracked, so I'm tracking a little bit of hardware compression on the way in, but I didn't want to box myself in, so we didn't do super hard. What I like to do when I'm comping is try to hear it towards the almost finished sound. So I have them all going to a bus with gamma right here on it. So I probably use one of my presets here. And this is supposed to be like a more like new metal-y, new deathcore sound. So I definitely want it to be like a lot more intimate. So I use probably the intimate preset. And I changed a few things. I think I just turned off like the width and whatever, but I made a saved version of this. Let's see. So yeah, I pretty much did everything. I just turned off the width, doubler, delay, and then I changed some of the saturation, because with it being like a super aggressive song, I kind of wanted to be like more distorted. And it's really just like touching these lights here too. So I'll play it real quick. You can definitely hear it. Let me solo this vocal. Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in, lost it. Blinded by sheer panic, vision. So really, like, all it's doing is a tiny bit of like room reverb, and then it's getting more saturated. And then when it's like those higher peaks, I see these lights. Probably during like stacks and layers, this will probably light up more. But I just used one of the presets and kind of tweaked it. So let me make sure that all these sends are off. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm just gonna hear this straight one raw vocal here, and then we'll comp from that. So the idea behind comping is you get all your takes, then you get like one super take from the best parts of it. Then you would use like your second best takes for your doubles, if you're gonna use doubles, or for like layers or something like that. So I just want to focus on the main vocal right here and now. So we're just gonna listen to this. Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in, lost in endless static, sanity is where it can. Okay, that sounded fine. Like I said, we did go through this as we were tracking and comped a little bit, but we didn't like really dive in. So let me hear these. So a workflow that I use in Pro Tools is you can rename tracks just like this. So I will name them, like if this one's like awesome, I'll be like Killer, and then that'll be named Killer, so I know that. Or if this one's like good, then I'll do that. I don't know if all DAWs have this, but I've done this in the past in Cubase where like I just color code them. So like my best possible take is a green color, and then the worst takes red, and okay takes like yellow or something like that. So looks like we labeled these warm ups. So he was probably just getting levels, it looks like, and I was doing my first take. So these ones are probably not going to be great, but we'll come back to them and see if maybe they're good. Now, before I dive into listen to all these takes, I want to just go over what I think makes the best take. So the number one thing that I think makes a great take is the delivery of it. Like, was there emotion of it? Was there personality to the vocal? That is the king of all takes, in my opinion. So you really can't change that in editing or anything like that. So one is delivery. Two, I'd say, is timing. It's not as important because you can change timing a bit afterwards. You can nudge stuff afterwards. So I would say if you have a take that has a ton of personality, but it's a little bit early or a little bit late, I would rather use that take than I would say, well, it's like perfectly in time, but it's a little less projected or something like that. Same with singing too. There's no singing in this song, but with singing too. So like pitch. Now, if you're like wildly off pitch, then probably don't use that take. But if you're a little shaky on your notes, but there's a lot of personality in it, you could always tune those afterwards. So I would rather always get the take that has the most personality than the best delivery possible. So let's take a listen to this little pink one right here.
Panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless, static. Sanity is wearing thin.
I think this ending thing is kind of cool, so I'm gonna label that one cool. This one I'm not really stoked on, so let's see another one.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless, static. Sanity is wearing thin.
That one's good too. Let's take a listen to the one that we chose.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless, static. Sanity is wearing thin.
All right, so this one's good too. I think this pink take is better, the ending of it. So we're just gonna use the ending of this pink take, use all of this, which we already have up here, and then there's a word I say that I kind of crack on. I want to see if there's a better version of that. Lost in. I kind of like, I don't know what the word is. I guess crack my voice. Like I go like lost in. I don't know. Just doesn't sound correct to me. So this take right down here, this lime green one, seems like a bit lower of a take overall.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless, static. Sanity. Busted, endless, busted, 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 endless.
I think this red one's cool. Let's see how this whole take sounds now. This is our main take that we're going to roll with, I think.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless.
I still have that kind of weird lost in there. Let me keep looking.
Closing in. Rusted, endless.
I think that one's much better.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in. Rusted, endless, static. Sanity is wearing thin.
Cool. Let's go to this extra part of this chorus.
This line screams returning now.
So you see that we labeled these killer right here. So we probably thought that these were like the best takes that either felt great or they sounded great.
This line screams returning now.
Let's see, we got other ones.
This line screams returning now.
I kind of go a bit higher pitch there.
This line screams returning now. The voice screams returning now.
I say the instead of this, so that's like I said the wrong thing there, so I'm just gonna mute that.
This line screams. This line screams.
So that's the take we used.
This line screams returning now.
So this one, I like how it starts, but I kind of like rush at the end, and I kind of like lose my breath. So maybe you could try using the front of this.
This line screams returning now.
don't know if that's better.
This voice scripts returning now.
I think that one's better overall. So I think we were correct on using that take. And then here at the very end, let's see what we have.
I will take my fucking focus. Lost in endless static sanitarians wearing thin.
That sounds pretty good. Let's try this take.
I will take my fucking focus.
I kind of like the inflections I do here, rather. There is more personality to like the way I'm projecting it. So that's like what I like the most.
I will take my fucking focus. I will take my fucking focus.
Yeah, I much rather this guy here.
I will take my fucking focus. I will take my fucking focus. I will take my fucking focus. I will take my fucking focus.
These all sound really similar.
And now I'm losing focus.
That's a different thing we probably tried there.
I'm losing focus.
I tried doing different phrasing.
Returning now, I'm losing focus.
Yeah, I tried different phrasing there. So it's mainly just these 4 takes, but I like the one that I chose, more like inflections on the vocal.
I'm losing my fucking focus. Lost in endless static sanitarians wearing thin.
I think on the word wearing thin, I'm a little weak.
Sanitarians wearing thin.
So let's see if we have a better take of that ending there.
Sanitarians wearing thin.
I kind of end differently. I don't not like it. Let's try some other ones.
Sanitarians wearing thin.
That one's better. I like this one more. So we'll see that one first. So when you're doing this, you got to make sure that they actually like comp correctly. So like do your little crossfades and whatnot and make sure that they're cut where they're supposed to be. So that sounds correct, and that sounds a lot better. Let's see what this one's better. This one's cool, but I do like a little like weird mouth noise. I probably did this for like the other thing, for like a layer maybe, but like I don't want that high to be the main vocal. Oh, these are probably like the alternate phrasing I used. Okay. So I think those are great there. So we have our actual main vocal takes comped. So we're just going to hide these doubles and layers for now. So we're just focusing here. So now we're getting to hearing the entire vocal comp. So here's how it sounds.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision is closing in, lost in endless static. Sanity is wearing thin. This voice scripts returning now. I'm losing my fucking focus. Lost in endless static. Sanity is wearing thin.
I think it sounds great. There's one thing I want to add to this, and because I have heavier compression going on to hear how it's going to sound like almost final, I can hear that my breaths might be a little bit too loud or like too gaspy. So I'm going to clean these up, these ends here, and we're going to take another listen and just hear the breaths and see if they're too much.
Blinded by sheer panic, vision.
So that one's a little bit too gaspy. So I'm going to just zoom in on the waveform here, and then we're going to cut this out so we just get the breath, and we're going to clip gain it down. So let's do like -5 maybe, and then just crossfade these, and it should sound less gaspy now and a bit more like a natural breath.
Panic, vision is closing in, lost.
So that sounded better, but there's the same thing here. So we're going to turn this up. We had a weird comp, so we're going to put that back, get those crossfaded. And then we got there to there. We'll turn these both down to like -4, -5. So this should sound a little bit less intense. All right. So I just do these for all the breaths that I think are a little bit too loud. Now, whenever I have like layers and doubles, I would just leave the entire take having no breaths. Like, say, I want to use this one, I would just cut the breaths entirely so that it's just the main vocal having the breath. I like to do it like that, but there's no really rules with that. So we have our breath here. So we're just gonna cut, turn these both down. -5-ish again, -5, -6, and cool. And we got a little bit more natural thing going on. Same thing here. So we'll just crossfade these breaths so they're the same. Do this here. Turn down like 5 or 6. Crossfade those. So here is a small mouth noise at the end. So I might just cut this breath mouth noise thing. And I'll leave a little like intro breath into it. That sounds a little unnatural. Maybe I just need to turn down that little sound at the end because it's a bit too loud. Same thing here. Breath's a bit too intense. Looks like I cut that one off a little early, so we'll probably throw it in the middle. Cool. Same thing here, just a little bit too loud. I know this is painful to watch, but you know, it's what has to be done. Cool, so we have all our breaths done. Now, like I said earlier, if I had any timing issues, I could just do like a small nudge. So we have this on, what do we have this on? Quarter note. I'm doing eighth notes, I think. So looks like I'm pretty on here. Maybe here I'm a little early, so I could see if it sounds bad. For this kind of style, I would have it a little bit looser, but I still want it to be in time, obviously. I've done stuff in the past where like the vocals are like right on the beats, and that's great for like pop or like music where it has to be like right on the downbeat. But for this being a bit more natural, I would be okay with it being a little bit earlier, a little bit ahead. But this one part here is probably a little bit too ahead. So what I would do is you can do this a bunch of ways. Probably the best way with the least artifacts is just like moving it and then crossfading it, but you might lose some information. And then if so, you would have to do like elastic audio. But let's see if that works. Yeah, so there's a little pop there. I could probably do a better job of cutting it, but I'll show you the time warping thing as well. So we'll go to elastic audio. We'll go to a warp. So I want to make a marker that I don't want to move anything. And then this one's pretty close. So I just want to move this section here. So I'll move that a little bit closer. And then there we go. Bit closer in time there. It's still a little early, but like I said, I'd rather it be a little bit looser if I can. So let's hear it in the context of the song. on this little strengthening. Maybe it's a little early, so we'll go back to our warp here. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Just move this a little bit. Da 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 da. All right, so this one's a little bit early, up to like probably here. Yeah. Then at the very end. So with that said, we'll stop right here, but we'll do some more warps going on. So I don't want to affect here. I don't want to affect before. Pull that a bit closer. That's great. And then that a bit closer. These little plosives before, I'm okay with them being a little early, but then having the actual vowel be on time. All right, so let's hear just this good main vocal. Cool. So doubles, I do the exact same kind of process, and I would just not use the same take. So it looks like here I use this same take, so I would make sure that that is not used. And then this might be the same exact. No, this is a different take. 604, 603. So I would just kind of do the same kind of process. This was the original main, so like it was probably just fine, but it wasn't all that personality, which is what you want for doubles because they're really not going to be as loud as the main vocal. Then for parts, you might not even use doubles. But this is the chorus, so I'll probably have doubles left and right. So I'll probably throw this one right down here. And then, like I said, I will for sure just cut out the breaths on the double because I don't need them. I have my breaths that sound natural already on my main vocal. So I'll just cut these right out, and that's what I would do for that kind of stuff. And same with these little like noises here. So like I would just cut those right out because I want that to be the main take. All right. Cool. So we have our double cleaned up with no breaths. So let's take a listen to how these sound stacked with the music. So that sounds pretty damn cool to me. All right, so the last step with doing this kind of stuff is making sure that your doubles are aligned with your main take. And the hope is you can use a plugin called Vocalign. But for screams, I find it doesn't always work. So we're going to see if it works. We're going to do this in sections so that we're not going to like overload Vocalign with stuff. So let's go here. We will choose our main and we'll capture the dub, render it out, and you can see this kind of shifted the timing a bit based off what Vocalign said it should be. Now, let's take a listen to just the double and see if it made any weird warping artifacts. I don't hear any crazy warping, and let's hear them stack to each other. And the waveforms look pretty damn close. Like you see what it did the changes here. Like it made sure that these all ended on the exact same thing. Then our S's were lined up. Like this one here, it made sure that it started correctly. So if that works, I would recommend using Vocalign when you can. So I have a little excerpt here that showcases when Vocalign doesn't work. So I'm trying to use Vocalign for this next phrase here. So
Endless static.
endless static. And now I did Vocalign, and you can hear it gets very artifacty and warbly
Endless static.
on the word static. So this is like normal, what it sounds like,
Static.
and this is what it did.
Static.
So Vocalign doesn't always work. So it's definitely an awesome tool, but there's sometimes you just gotta know how to do it, and you just have to do it. The alternative is doing it manually. So say that it creates artifacts. There's sometimes that, like for screams, it makes it sound like you're underwater sometimes. So the other way is to just suck it up and go manually with it. You can either cut it here and pull it back a little bit, do a little crossfade. Same thing here. It starts there. We got to stretch that one out. Then we have to stretch this one out here because it ends early. And then that one goes too long. When they go too long for like a long vowel, you usually just cut and like slip it back, because when that vowel is crossfaded, you really can't hear it. But let me see if that actually does work.
Endless.
Yeah, so like endless, that part was long. I just knocked it down there. I'm going to pull this back a little bit so it ends correctly. But yeah, so again, if you have Vocalign and if it works, use Vocalign because it's definitely a time saver. All right, guys, that's all I have for you here today. If you have any questions on this stuff, check out the Facebook group or leave comments down below.